Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar, How to Integrate Business Continuity and Crisis Communication. I am Ritika Chakraborty. I will be for the day. Our speaker for the day is Mr. Reyaz Ahmad. He is a resilience leader at HP Enterprise. Please note, the session will be in listen-only mode and will last for 40 minutes, out of which last 10 minutes will be dedicated to Q&A, requesting all the participants to post your questions in the Q&A window. Should you need any assistance during the session, please use the chat box. Also, we do have two criteria for our certification. First is attend the complete webinar to become eligible. And second one is fill in the survey and give the right answer to the 3 questions based on the webinar on the same day. About our speaker now, Mr. Reyaz Ahmad. He is a seasoned resilience professional with extensive experience in business continuity management, disaster recovery, risk management, crisis management, pandemic planning, data privacy, audits and compliance, and also consulting. He has worked in multiple domains to deliver BCMS at the organizational level in BFSI, manufacturing, telecom, government, and others. Reyaz holds several certifications as well, such as EDRP, MBCP, etc. Now, I would hand over the session to you, Mr. Ahmad.
Thank you very much, Ritika. Thanks a lot. Good evening, everyone. Hope I'm audible. Can you please confirm me, Ritika?
Yes, you are perfectly audible. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, as we are going to cover how to integrate business continuity and crisis management topic in today's session, we are going to cover the topic starting from introduction, then reference and guidelines, trends, impact and elements, integration of BCP and crisis management plan. So I'm Reyaz Ahmed. I have around 15 years of experience in different sectors. As Kritika mentioned about like my different sectors, starting from BFSI, from consulting, from IT, ES, telecom, and manufacturing domain. My current employer is HP Enterprise, and I'm having expertise in ISO22301 certification implementation for large organization, manage crisis at enterprise level, business continuity management system implementation, also perform audits and do advisory services in related fields like for business continuity, crisis management, data privacy, 27001 and 22301. So now I'm moving to the next topic, which is the reference and guidelines, which I have used during this presentation. Also, you guys can use it for reference as a best practices if you are implementing crisis management or business continuity or to your organization. So the latest relevant standard for crisis management is BS 11200, which is a British standard 11200, and other references definitely ISO 22301 for business continuity. Then there is best practices for international from DRI International, and for guidelines on Business Continuity Institute. Also, I referred few of the open source material, like few surveys to give you some reference point during the session. So So these are the reference point which is I would strongly recommend to you can read it and implement it whenever is required. Now the key point, a crisis, right? Will we be able to prevent or stop crisis? If I talk about different kind of crisis or risk, which is like man-made or natural or infrastructural failure or technological failure, will we able to stop it, or we can say that no, I have all controls, nothing is going to be fall into, and my entire field or my entire organization is with zero risk? Not possible. So if I talk about basic or most common risk or threat, which is network failure or fire in any organization, we can put different controls around it to make sure if this crisis is going to happen, there would be less impact and all our employees must be safe. And we need to have a proper point, right, put in place, all the topics, all the controls put in place, all the controls should be tested and prevented. So as I mentioned, crisis, it cannot be prevented, but we can be prepared to respond based on our protocols, plan, and team effort with the management to ensure that is anything going to happen, organization should be ready to tackle that situation. If we talk about different trends in crisis management, as per one of the survey, it shows which potential issue does your crisis management plan address. It shows which is the common crisis which organization face. I'm not talking about as of now COVID-19 situation, because that is like pandemic, and each and every organization face that issue, starting from crisis now is a new normal for any organization. I'm talking about mainly apart from the other incidents, other crises which hit to organization. So cyber breach, that is the top one for that organization are prepared. Around 67% of organization, they mentioned that they are prepared with such crisis which is related to cyber threat or cyber terrorism or cyber breach. We have seen these kind of issues in during COVID situation as well. Now, second top ready in terms of crisis management is workplace violence or harassment. That is the crisis which is effectively taken care by organization. Around 56.5% organization says. Then third one is environmental damage. Anything related to environmental, companies are prepared. So this one is the one aspect to see how organizations prepare with what is their top risk which they have addressed, right? So I'm taking if I go with these, there is terrorism, there are other risk as well. So I'm just taking an example for top three risks, which is mainly for cyber breach, workplace violence, and environmental damage. Now, in second trend, which is showing which crisis do you feel least prepared for? So any organization which is saying we are not very good prepared with that crisis. So if I compare with that, cyber breach is around 67% organizations say we are prepared, but also around 19.5% organization feel that they are not very good if there is any cyber related threat is going to happen, any attack happen, we are going to fail, right? That is comparison one. Number two, if I talk about workplace violence, around 6.8% organizations say we need improvement. We are not very much prepared, right? Means around 93.2% organizations are well prepared with the workplace related violence or harassment. Anything related to environmental damage, around 99.2% companies, they feel they are well prepared. Just 0.8% companies are saying we need some improvement for that. However, you know, terrorism related risk, which are, you know, the focus point where most of the companies says we are not very much prepared in case of any terrorist attack. Around 27.1% companies mention about it. So it shows different trends that we are prepared for some risk, which is going to happen. You know, we need to act as per the situation. We are not very much prepared, but we are going to manage the situation. I don't know if it is going to be, you know, very effective or not. So these are the crises. If we talk about, let's, you know, I don't want to discuss about COVID-19 situation, but yeah, this is the, you know, classic example because there's this first pandemic which we have seen. You know, so in COVID-19 situation, companies, you know, say anything going to happen related to people and availability, we are prepared, right? Our technology are fine, everything is fine. Our BCPs covers around, you know, all the critical headcounts are ready to take care of critical workload during any crisis situation. But when COVID-19 struck at global level, each and every company faced the heat. Reason being, we were prepared with the limited capacity and some capacity over a period of time. So if I say limited capacity, means there was focus on the critical processes. They were focused on the critical process recovery, and our critical resources were ready to take care of only some point of, you know, some percentage of work, around 30% or 40% of work. But COVID-19 crisis required 100% availability of resources, maybe from their home or, you know, other alternate locations, whatever, based on the, you know, company business continuity and management capabilities. So as per the survey or as per the trend, each and every company struggle to make sure employees going to be available to take care of business. Different companies, if I talk about ITs, it was less struggle, but I talk about other companies which were customer faced, which was like required to go to office, like factories and all, they got very badly impacted during that scenario. However, now they have recovered and you know, it is working fine, you know, as the business as usual for them. Now, if we talk about impact and causes of any disruption, I'll read this presentation from right to left. So major cause of disruption, as per the one benchmark survey, mainly for, you know, network failure or software failure, which is around 50% of crisis, you know, around it. 23.5% based on human error, than any power failure, and few based on the weather related disruption. So Any disruption comes with the financial impact to any organization, right? So like around 20% of organization indicated that during these disruption or during crisis or during that event, they had issue on the financial, and they got impacted starting from $50,000 up to $5 million. Is a huge amount. And around 36% of companies mentioned that due to failure of critical application or non-availability of critical application softwares, they lost the data and it was not able to recover, and it impacted to their financial level. And why? They were not able to manage because of business continuity failure? I would say no. Because management were not serious to develop the business continuity management planning at effective level, crisis management planning and effective level at it, and it was not tested periodically, or what if it got tested based on the test result, there was some improvement required. Company did not focus on that. It leads to failing of the BCP around 60%. 40% it was not useful during crisis, and test result or area of improvement, it was not addressed. Around 60% of organization did not focus on it, and it led to a crisis, over crisis. They did not able to recover the business. They did not able to focus on the effective crisis management and recovery of critical business function because of any issues, which is software failure or human error, power failure, or weather or anything, right? It was not effective. So these are some examples about impact and causes of disruption. Now, if I talk about if any organization wants to develop a crisis management plan, what is crisis management plan? It is mentioned as per the name. Crisis management plan, how I'm going to manage a crisis if it is going to hit to us. There are different elements for that, right? And it is not like one-time activity. It is ongoing activity as well. So if any organization wants to build an effective crisis management plan, there is different elements. I'm going to focus on 10 elements, which I feel that is more important. Reason being, if there is no any effective crisis management plan, maybe BCP is not going to work, because BCP and crisis management go hands on hand. Even crisis management comes before BCP, because as soon as any event or any potential effect on any organization is going to come, crisis management plan should be active. Management should be involved and decide if anything is going wrong, how I'm going to act or react. And BCP is nothing but it is more like, if this crisis is going to happen, in that case, how I'm going to recover my critical business function or restart my critical business function. So what is 10 elements which are mentioned here? I'll start with one, which is nothing but risk analysis. Know your risk. If you're doing a business, know your risk. What are the risks involved? If I talk about different companies, if I say telecom company, right? Risk is if my network component is not able to serve the work, tower failure, network failure, it is going to impact to the service, and customer is not going to be happy with that. Like if say our telecom service provider, we are using different telecommunication service provider. If it is down, right, it is going to have huge impact to all the customer which are using. It can be in thousands and 10,000 or more than that, right? And definitely it's going to impact to their business. So do your risk analysis, know what is my pain point, what is my failure which can lead to a crisis. Know that, do a study, be ready with the all the risk, and what is the remediation plan. Although if it's going to happen, what is going to be my reaction or action. Number two, what is the activation protocol? If I say activation protocol, at what situation I'm going to invoke crisis management team, or at what point we need to know what is the threshold which is defined to activate crisis management team to take decision, right, to take control of the business during any crisis, or any crisis which is leading to major impact to business. Before that, we need to have that protocol ready and activated, so there could be a possible option that there would be less impact to business and there would be more recovery during such crisis. Chain of command, that is third one, which is very important in any crisis management plan. Usually, any crisis management team is led by the topmost authority in the company, or designated person who represents the topmost authority in the company. If crisis management is activated because of a crisis, right, and the topmost person who is leading the crisis management team is not aware about the situation, what is the action plan, how are we going to do, who is going to do what, it is not going to suffice the requirement, right? So any information related to any crisis is going to come from bottom to top or from a middle to top. So management or team lead, crisis management lead can take the right decision, or crisis management team representative can give the right information, right advice to crisis management team leader to take the appropriate decision during crisis. So it is always from top to bottom and bottom to top. So that chain of command should be written, and it should be effective as well. Now, command center plan, which is is usually in past, right? It was like any crisis is going to happen, there would be some hotel or some point where all the crisis management team is going to meet and decide what is going to happen or what is going to be action plan. Now it can be go for online option available through Skype, through Teams, through Zoom call, or WhatsApp, whatever is right mode of communication, which is also required. Then that should be available there, right? Like during any crisis, this is the link which we are going to use to to come for a quick meeting to decide what is the action, how is we are going to do, what is current situation now. So command center and activation protocol and chain of command goes hands on hand. So that is also important to know which link is going to be used during, or which conference link or which meeting invitation link is going to be used during crisis situation. What is the admin participation code, or what is the web ID, and all that is going to be written clearly, and it should be active. Now, what is the action plan? Different scenarios, different action plan. If there is any technical failure, what is going to be my action plan? If there is any infrastructure failure, what is going to be my action plan? People unavailability, right? Like our employees are not able to come because of COVID situation, if I say, right? So in that case, what is going to be my action plan? If my 50% of headcount is not available, what I'm going to do, right? What I can do if my employees are, if infected because of COVID-19 coronavirus. So what is, what I can do as a leader, or what the organization leader can do in this situation. Then point number 6 and 7, which is talk about communication. During crisis, if we are not able to do effective communication, it is going to be crisis over crisis. If our employees are not getting periodic communication in the current situation, what is the action plan, what is the company stand for, it is going to be a chaotic situation for them. Also, external communication which is required for government agencies or any press or media or any other agencies which they want to know about what the current situation is going on, it should be communicated effectively, and it should be a single point of communication, single point of contact who is responsible for internal as well as external, or internal and or external communication. And that should be also mentioned in chain of command, who, and also part of responsible who is going to do what, right? So that is important, because communication is the essential thing during crisis, to make sure our employees should be aware, their kith and kin are aware about the company stand. Also, external media should be, aware about it if it's required, but we need to have a proper mechanism put in place for all kind of communications. Now, resource availability. If I say resource, it is not only people, right? It is equipment, or any software, or any advisory services, anything which is going to support to take care of crisis situation, that is required. Like if you say media broadcast applications, or media broadcast, or employee broadcast tool, or take care of if you need to check how our employees are safe or not, is there is any mechanism, there is some notification mechanism or software put in place, that is be available and in active mode as well. It should be effective as well. We have everything put in place, right? We have done risk analysis, we have done all the protocols put in place, all the documents are available, role and responsibilities defined, communication plan defined, all the templates are ready, but it is it is not, nobody knows what to do, right? If I say crisis management team leader, that person is designated as you are a crisis management team leader, but he's not aware about his role and responsibilities, what he's going to do as a crisis management team leader, what is his action item, what is the action plan, doesn't know about it. So all the crisis management team, they don't know what they are going to do during crisis. Do you think it's going to be effective crisis management plan? No. Training is required to know whether, what we are going to do. If I'm a crisis management team leader, what is my role during crisis? If I'm a communication leader, what is my role during crisis? Or if I'm responsible for IT infrastructure, I represent IT infrastructure in crisis management team, what is going to be my role during crisis situation in crisis management plan? What is I'm going to do? Also, review of the plan is must, because when we do test of the crisis management and we do simulation or real-time scenarios, or especially I would say simulation, right? We got to know what is the single point of failure, how our crisis management plan work, who did well, who did not do well, and what is area where we need to focus on to make our crisis management plan more effective, right? So this is going to be ongoing activity, unlike all the BCM related documents. So think about it, be ready, test your plan, invoke your crisis management plan in a controlled manner, check whether it's affecting or not. If not, improve it, make it effective. So these are 10 elements for crisis management plan, which is important. Now, we talk about crisis management plan, we touched BCP, how it is integrated, how they talk with each other, right? How crisis management or crisis communication is integrated part of business continuity, how effective it is. If we go with a sequence of any event, right? How it work? There is any crisis occur, crisis management team put in place. They invoke, BCP. How BCP work? BCP is nothing but set of documents which is tried, tested, and executed when it was required. So when crisis management team review the situation, right, and they say, okay, I think there is a situation where we need to go with our business continuity plan, and let's invoke it, because we feel that, if I give you one example about one of the site got impacted because of fire, right? And if that site is going to be shut down for more than 1 day, it is going to be impact to $1 million every day, because of the transaction value is very high there. And based on the situation, crisis management team lead decided, okay, invoke BCP, because he is authority to invoke BCP or revoke the BCP. And then, as per the BC strategy, business continuity strategy, which is defined for that particular site, it is going to be executed. Maybe employee can go to some other offices and start working from there, and continue the business starting from minimum requirement, go increase over a period of time. And meanwhile, crisis management team is not only focusing on recovering the business, they are also working with different group to restore the main facility, right? So one part where BCP invoked to recover the critical business function, to minimize the impact on the revenue or impact on business. Meanwhile, crisis management team worked on the business continuity as well as business and restoration of the impacted site. Send the communication to all media. Yes, there was a fire and it happened, how happened, and all these information. Also, the communication to our employees about the situation and do's and don'ts and all these information, and then it is going to be continue to recovery. So response is done, recovery is done, and once site is ready, right, with 100% capacity, employee is going to come back to our primary location, start working from there with 100% capacity. In that case, crisis management team is again going to evaluate the situation. If it is back to normal, is a BAU, in that case, CMT is going to be dissolved or going to be revoked, as well as BCP is going to be revoked and work done. So this is the integration of BCP and CMP in a high level. BCP, there are, if you talk about any test, when we do a test, right, or I have to say ideal test scenario, when we create a scenario, right, there is a terrorist attack in a building, or there is any fire in their building, or there is network outage in a building. It starts from crisis management. That is the first thing which we do, right? Manage the incident, do the crisis management, call for a crisis management team, evaluate the situation, deploy the critical resources if BCP is invoked, recover the business, work on the affected site or location, restore it back to normal, and work done. Right? So what is the ideal structure for any crisis management team? There's three different structure if I talk about. One is strategic, second is tactical, third is operational. Usually, crisis management team is a strategic team. They provide all the support to tactical team or operational team who recover the business or who work on the affected side, impacted side, or impacted software, or impacted business, and whatever. Right. So team leader is CXO level or head of the organization, or head of, depend on who is authorized to go as a team lead, what they do. Tactical team is the team who work between the person who is working at ground and interact with the crisis management team, which is called as a business recovery team as a tactical level. An operations team who act during any crisis, right? Any incident immediately with the emergency team, with support team. Then business recovery team members who start recovering or critical business critical resources who work on it. IT disaster recovery in terms of any IT related issue occur, or make sure if there is any alternate site is required, any hot site is not there. If it's a cold site, we need to make it hot site. So they work it on and make sure all the components should be available, so team can go and work from there. So these are the ideal structure, for crisis management for business continuity, where they interact with each other during any crisis or during testing period, during development period, and also ongoing manner. So make sure it should be a right collaborative effort during any crisis. Also effective business continuity, effective communication, and effective recoveries to avoid any business loss, any financial loss, any reputational loss, and safeguard the company's reputation. With this slide, thank you very much for your time. Now we are open for Q&A. If you have any, please let us know.